same question. It's nothing more reassuring. Okay, we are live.
Are you really sure?
Are we live?
We're live on Twitch, I hope.
Do I care? Oh, yep, I can tell because it says up in the corner
Hello,
that we've got 0
everyone.
people watching us, which
means
Big
we're
crowd.
good. Yeah.
Yeah, which means we're awesome. All right.
Everything's
Okay, so
awesome.
today we are going to be running. We're going to be continuing our Vaesen Cthulhu game. I thought it was coming to an end, but then I got re-inspired, so it's not. We are playing a module not from Harlem Unbound, but using the same characters with the same emphasis, slightly recut. We're playing Bleak Prospects by Scott Dorwood. I think I've got that right.
Scott.
From
Defense of Jackson Elias.
Yeah. From Nameless Horrors. This is a particularly bleak module in comparison to some of the others. And we're recutting it with the perspective of African-American experience, particularly during the Depression, which was exceptionally bad, needless to say, almost. And actually, arguably, sort of presages the end of the Harlem Renaissance movement, as more than 50% of African-American come out of work, and actually in some jurisdictions 70%. So the sort of wealth that was flowing into Harlem in the 1920s prior to the crash sort of slows down and eventually stops, and you see the collapse of the sort of Renaissance movement as a result. I'm not an American history buff, but that's, as I understand it, was one of the significant implications. The module is set around what are known as Hoovervilles. So these are effectively the tent or shanty towns that appeared next to major centres where people who had lost their livelihoods and their homes were forced to live. And in this particular scenario, we'll be recutting the shantytown story a little bit. And sorry about the cat.
Cats are good.
Hell.
Remember, they
Cats
are mythos beings.
That's right, especially when they're mythos beings. With a lens to that African American experience. This module, finally, we're playing it as a continuation of one of the Harlem Unbound modules, particularly the one revolving around the Leviathan Club, who were a villain set from an earlier module.
Which only Frank Amadeus is a survivor of.
Yes.
Yeah,
that's true. Amadeus is the only member of the original group.
Oh, yeah. Apart from
Matt also, yeah.
Matt, but Matt's
Matt
not here at the moment.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, I was burned alive, and probably flies coming out of my mouth. Yeah.
I was executed.
It was dark.
Yeah. It ended well. Right, and then just because we said we would, Frank, do you want to give a quick pitch and then we'll kick off?
Yes, sure. No, this is actually more happenstance than planned, but I'm currently running on my channel together with a few streamers in Germany a stream for charity thing called March for Kids. And the whole idea is that we are funding basically family accommodation on the grounds of a university hospital in the northern German city of Lübeck. And the whole idea there is that you have families of young children who may be there at the hospital for some time, and they are able to stay close by on the site of the hospital. So this is funded by charity. It's also supported by various other charities, of course. So it's not just us. But last year it was very, very successful. So we decided to have a few more streamers on board. And last time I checked, €2,000 target was already half the way reached. And I think, what's the date today? The 6th of March. So there is, I think, a really upswell, if you like, of support, a swell of support, which is great to see from our community as role players. So I think we can all sympathize and empathize with basically parents whose life has been thrown out off their normal track because their child all of a sudden has to be in hospital, might be in a very dangerous condition. So if you want to support the stream, if you want to support this, there is on my channel anyway, there's a little link at the bottom called March for Kids. And also, if you on my Twitch channel, if you go and put !M4K, you'll get a link and a detail, and there's a QR code as well. So lots of stuff you can do. If none of that works, I'm sure we'll put a link in the YouTube channel afterwards, right? Yeah, I think so. Our Baron in Blue seems to be either really, really cool or really, really frozen.
Thanks, Frank.
Thank you. Thank you for letting me hijack this a little bit.
By the way, was that as broken for the rest of you as it was for me, or is it just at my end that everyone was completely breaking up?
It's your end.
Your end.
Okay.
Hopefully we can make this work today.
The cat was laying on all the cables, so that could explain it. Oh, for fuck's sake,
That's what it is.
go away.
Ooh, profanity filter.
Hell. Anyway, 8 times. Hello, Matt. How are you?
Hello. Sorry, hello. I'm just setting myself up.
We're live.
Perfect. We're live, by the way. All right, so
sure we are. Yeah, I'm sure we're live because I just heard Valdenash give a
Pitch.
press like and support and all that stuff.
Oh, you can do that for any of the channels you're watching this on as well, of course. Subscribing and likes and supports and comments and thumbs up.
He's so good at that.
All that. I hardly
so
ever
much
mention
better
that.
than. And he does professional-looking interfaces and
all that sort of stuff.
sort of cutscenes. It's
Throwing
just
things to the ground.
Yeah.
Sorry,
We're
what,
humbled.
I can't remember what. I've got so many links for Forge and Roll20. It's Forge, isn't it? We're doing this on.
Yep.
it is Forge.
Forge.
Yep.
Do we have
Forge.
an advance from last adventure?
God, you people are greedy with your experience.
Oh, I haven't actually looked at that at all.
Yeah, I guess.
Yes, you can
Oh.
have an advance. You can have an advance.
Oh,
One singular.
jeez. I
Oh, no,
just
that's
figured
four
we're
stories.
all going to die by the end of it. So
Yeah,
Well,
count on it. No, oh, sorry.
Well,
No, of course not. You have every chance of survival. What are you saying, Doug? Such negativity.
Lass, Doug, lass.
I have also created for you. This is, us actually playing Vaesen rules for a change. I've also, as you would all be aware, you have an armory now and an occult library and a vault and gymnasium and even a normal library, not just an occult library. Like, I'm just making the point. You got some goodness there.
Will we use it?
Yes, we will.
I was planning to kick it off. Yes.
Okay.
Before we die.
I was going to give you, just so we could have that one-off, opportunity. Yeah. So Amadeus, the way this all kicks off is you receive a letter from, not that guy. What's his name? Where is he? There he is. Thank you. Dr. Coombs.
Dr. Coombs.
Who is
Do I know this guy?
Dr. Coombs. You have a passing familiarity with him. He is he has previously worked at Harlem Hospital, African American, medical degree. So you belong to a very small clique of individuals, and so you are known to each other. He's written to you asking for your assistance, as he knows you have an expertise. Rumors abound by this point. It's about 1929-30. So it's about 1930. So it's been a couple of years since you went into the Dreamlands and came back out. You have received this letter from him. Sorry, the cat is lining up to lay on the cables again, and I'm just watching her decide at what point she will just do that. Hi. She really wants to just lay right there. So Dr. Coombs has written to you because he knows you have a familiarity with the strange and unusual. So people living in the Hooverville that he now lives in, because he's lost his job and has no income, but still a doctor. So he's sort of set up this medical clinic inside this Hooverville. The letter progresses to describe the disease, which is that people's the beginning of the disease is people have flaking skin and a deep lethargy. And then as it progresses, the victim gets more and more lethargic and wastes away, with their muscles becoming dry and brittle. And then eventually their body starts to crumble. Now, he is seeking your assistance in understanding, if you can come and have a look at this situation. Now, to go right back to the beginning of where this game started, whilst it's not exactly the same, certain elements of that conditionality do ring true to what certain members of the Knights, as you are now known, the Knights of Oribus, faced in their first mystery with the dream batteries that were stealing people's dreams and causing them to fall lethargic and lose hope.
Basically
and
sucking
you
out
never
their life
did,
energy.
yeah, and you never did, sort of get to the end, sort of finalize what happened to the group of powerful white folk who were standing behind that. You did kill a couple of them, but other members escaped and disappeared into the hierarchy of New York at the cost of some members of your own group who were either dead or executed by the end of that adventure.
I'm really sorry, but I might have to restart my stream because I'm just getting a black screen. Is anybody watching my Twitch stream of you guys?
On Twitch it's not working.
Twitch.
Yeah.
No, I was looking on YouTube for you.
So I'll just restart it briefly.
So I am taking the brave talent for my advancements because of my miserable fear test roll last session. So
I've got
anything
brave.
that can help. So
So you've taken some counseling, you've got to
Yeah.
face into your fears, you can't let them control you, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Fear is the mind killer, he has learned.
Killer.
He lets it pass through
Very
him
nice.
and he looks back.
Frank has looked after
Beautiful June reference.
Amadeus. Amadeus has looked after my knee, my gimpy knee, and I have a little more mobility, so I have agility 1 now.
Don't you have some sort of permanent advancement or some sort of sight because of your condition last game?
Yeah.
I remember you had some
You-
Yeah, it
talent.
should be on it's on your character sheets.
Oh yeah. Oh, is it?
It's been dropped on.
I am really struck there aren't enough talents for musicians here.
All right, so
Famous.
quickly going around then. What are you taking, Paul? What?
Oh gosh. I was thinking of taking loyal, but I'm gonna take blessing instead because blessing is a bit more appropriate for being a priest. Honest governor.
Honest. Just don't ask who the blessings come from. All right. Anyway,
I think I might take gentleman if I'm allowed, which is a soldier's talent, but as speaking as now one of the most experienced of this party and having seen a bunch, I quite like the idea of keeping my cool under pressure in social situations.
absolutely fine. Works for me.
Gentleman. Yep, I'm gonna take blessing.
All right.
So I get a
So-
plus. I get a +4, I think, on intellect
Once per
session.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sort of magical insight stuff.
Split conscious, so far as I
think.
remember.
Yeah, I think that was what it was.
I think if I go to you, you're Samuel, aren't you?
Yes.
Should be
Okay,
under combat. Yeah, split consciousness. Insight, enlightened, learning, +4.
Mhm.
let me remove the experiences. See all.
All right. So, has everyone upgraded their character?
I haven't, but
Uh,
I don't have the time right now to look at the talents, so I'll just go without.
I cannot add a talent.
No.
Yeah, I
You click
couldn't
on the
find
plus
talent.
on your talent sheet, and it gives you a little form to do it.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Okay, I thought it. Me.
Don't
Okay.
worry about it.
I have the talents. If you, oh no, they're all in journals. Are they in items? Vaesen core game.
It seems
Talents. I've got the
message
talents. Which
said-
talent are you taking?
brave.
Right. Okay.
Cool.
Yeah, I can drop it onto your character sheet if you like.
Oh, cool.
And when it's time,
John
I'm just
Arnsworth.
taking it
Uh,
agility.
Yeah. There you go. Should
Yep.
appear on your
Yep,
character
yep, yep,
sheet
yep.
now. There it is. +1 to
Um,
all for your
bless-
tests.
Blessing for me.
And blessing for you. Dornsky will do it. I'll just open you up. Father Daniel Akbar. And blessing. Oh, that's not general talent. That's a
That's
priest
priest.
talent, that is.
That is a priest talent. Yeah.
Yeah, nice. What does it do?
I can
Special session, you
bless
can bless an
somebody
object.
or person,
Oh.
and they can get a +2 on any test of their choice.
Okay.
That includes fear tests or anything really.
Oh, wonderful.
Nice one. Okay. Yeah, look at you guys picking up all those talents. Look, 4 talents. Jesus. You guys have been alive for too long. All right, we need to fix that problem.
Hey,
Oh, sorry.
someone
In a
else-
monologue. In a monologue. In a monologue.
You already
Alright.
killed me once, so let's
Yeah,
not do it again.
Not you, Mohammed. You're
Okay.
fine. I think some of the other players, just need to reset.
Yeah.
Hey, I've been
Like
killed
when-
once as well.
Spread
It's like
the
when you're
deathful joy
GMing
around.
one ring, and the one player who won't give up their character and won't give up their heir, so they just accumulate more and more talents and experience, and then they're monstrously overpowered in comparison to the rest of the party, and you're just waiting for the shadow to kick them into the into the long grass, and Anyway.
First
Not
edition
that I'm
didn't have that problem,
judging.
unfortunately.
So we have people flaking away.
Yes,
Yes,
being
and you
dried
should
up
go there.
entirely. We should go
Yeah.
there quickly.
because
We
you
need
know
some-
I think if we need to go and minister to those people to see if there's something
Yes.
we can do to help.
Is it a public transport journey, or do we have to take the doctor's car?
no, you can catch a train.
Ooh, trains! I like trains.
Now this
Yeah.
would be a period where it's actually quite expensive comparatively to previous years, right?
Correct. And so your choices are you can try and, basically hobo it. So grab a freight train, jump on board. Or you can pay a quite exorbitant amount of money to sit in a carriage.
Well, can we split the party in this regard? Because I can't imagine Amadeus and Paul wanting to hobo it, or indeed Samuel. But
Oh, no,
it-
I'm willing.
Mm.
No, I'm willing to go hobo it. Absolutely. I mean, everybody else is doing it. I mean, in the community, so
okay,
I don't have any
Well-
problems joining the community.
test out that new agility you've got then.
Mm.
So
Falling
I
under
feel
the
it-
tracks
it-
isn't a bad way.
It's the way I always go. Shanks's ticket, as they call it.
Mm,
They don't call it Shanks's ticket, but
They do. They will now.
you just
So Amadeus and Father Daniel, what are you guys doing with regards to travel? You
It
could have
all
said
depends
drive.
on
You
what-
could just ignore the train, of course.
It also it depends on what Amadeus decides to do, but I prefer to
Ooh.
take the train.
Yeah, if everybody takes a train, I'll train it as well, of course.
Yep.
Yeah.
It'd be daft not to.
Buying a ticket.
phew, what are you, made of money?
Buying a ticket.
Yeah.
Okay.
continuing with his priestly humility. As the doctor says, who would be dumb enough to do that? And the priest says, I'm buying a ticket. I love it.
Oh, by the way, can everyone reset? I just had a look at Legba. Can everyone reset their conditions because you're obviously completely recovered?
Okay.
Yeah.
I am completely recovered.
Yeah. Oh no, I've still got the spinal injury. That's permanent.
I am
But
reset.
what's my condition?
I am reset.
All right. Okay. Still got frightened.
It may just be Paul. It may be just Father Daniel, but he was not reset.
Yes, now hopefully.
The cat is
User
just
lacks permission to update actor. It was just a foundy message. Somebody's trying to update.
No, that was the cat wandering
you
on
lack
the
permission
thing,
to
I think.
update your character sheet.
Yeah, it happened to
Yeah.
me also.
All right.
Should we do some advantage before we travel, or we already traveled?
Yeah,
so
we could
Yeah.
try and research that. The place.
We could
Hooverville.
investigate our occult library to see if there's anything we can find out about this sort of
We
disease.
should.
Yeah.
Well, I say we. I mean you. I'll just play the music. I'll provide the soundtrack for the research montage.
Yeah.
Montage.
Our best,
So,
our
can
most
I get,
loaded person should do that.
Anyone who wants to, yeah. So, can I get a learning roll, please, from I think Amadeus, because assumably you're trying to understand
Try.
the conditionality of the disease. And can I get a learning roll from whoever's doing the occult research?
Yeah, I'll probably hitting the gym a little bit. So
I'll be
Not
I'll
doing
be hitting the occult.
research.
Is it a straight roll?
And we're
or
off
do
to
we-
a flying start with 0 successes from 7 dice from Amadeus.
Excellent.
That's my know-how.
No bonus from
I have
the
never.
library,
Well,
then.
to be fair, your research tells you you've never heard of a disease quite like this.
Yeah, fair enough.
Mm.
Isn't it?
Any
It's a
bonus from the
completely
occult
valid
library?
finding.
Mm.
And the occult library in the armory. Are you going to do
Yep.
some research there?
Yep.
Father
Does that
Legba.
give bonuses? Does that give bonuses?
It gives a bonus of 1 dice, mate.
Oh, awesome.
So it's
Yeah.
investment paying off.
Hmm?
Oh,
oh,
Yes. That one
yes.
dice was successful.
That 1 dice. Okay, so you're looking at the books. Look, it's obviously not exactly the same as the dream batteries, which is what you ran into in the first adventure, which were the things that were harvesting the sort of hopes and dreams of people, and specifically were invented, by an African American inventor. Noting that, however, you can see some pretty strong similarities in what you think they might. So something is stealing the life force. It sounds, or rather, it looks like there's a bunch of supernatural things that, in effect, are parasitic.
Yeah.
And this feels, from what you're able to glean from your research, it feels like there's something like that going on here.
Okay.
The benefit of that is when you get to investigating, so I'll just declare it out loud, when you get to investigating one of the people who's been infected, you'll get a bonus 2 dice. All right. So, with that research done, are you ready to jump on the train, people?
Yes.
I'm trying to remember. There's other things we can do. Can we not do some practice, or is that on the train? I just remember legit Vaesen rules.
Yeah,
Oh no, you can get it.
preparation
What John was,
advantage.
what Muhammad was talking about. You can take an advantage,
Yeah.
which will give you a bonus of 2 dice effectively to one action
Yeah,
that you
which is
undertake
why-
through the module.
And
Right,
also
okay.
why John hit the gym.
Mm.
Yes, that's what I was thinking of. And I guess my music practice will, of course, have given me a advantage on manipulation. Not manipulation,
course.
inspiration.
Inspiration.
Yeah.
And I've been working with the shotgun, and so I'm going to have used my range combat, and so
Okay.
practice shooting.
And are you bringing your shotgun with you in a large bag? Is that what's going down here?
It's down my leg, is what I've been told.
Okay.
It's
I
in
have-
my
Right.
boot. I wear a tall boot on one side so that it can fit.
Mhm. Yeah, I'm bringing my trusty crowbar and a small revolver
So
that
to
I'm
be clear,
hiding.
you've got a shotgun in your tall boot. I just want to be very clear that that's what you just said.
No, in my boot. In my boot.
Look at you people all armed to the teeth. Remember the old days when none of you
I-
would carry a gun because it was dangerous?
I threw my
Rolls the
gun
building.
into the river after shooting myself about 3 times.
I've
Yeah.
got anything.
It's a very wise decision. All right, so you're jumping on the. So for those of you, oh, did I? Oh, hold on. Let me just check something, Frank. I'll
Cool,
just.
cool.
Have I? Oh, go away. Just make sure that I've actually set it. Ow.
Yours is working.
Yeah, yours is it's on
Mine isn't
YouTube.
working. Don't worry about it.
Uh,
I'm recording it anyway, and then I can still push it out.
It says live 26
Okay.
minutes and 49 seconds. So
Yeah, I was more thinking, was there a setting that I hadn't hit for this one? Guest can stream their own destinations. No, it's turned on. Okay, cool. Don't know what's going on. All right, so jumping on the train, people. So 2 of you just pay and walk onto the train. For the rest of you, can I please get agility rolls? Yay! Look at
Mm.
that. Look at that, Doug. Look,
You
look.
want us to roll?
Investment paid off straight away.
right away, I knew that it
Benefit.
would. Now
Value.
I know that I've cursed myself because I've only got 3 dice anyway, and
You
and
know.
I may
Ooh.
end up shooting off my foot.
Oh, look at that.
Look at
I'm used
that.
to-
2 successes, 2 successes, no successes.
Can I give
Well,
one of my
yeah, but I
successes?
think what it is Anston, sorry, not Anston. Well, I am Anston. Anston and John jump onto the train and both reach down, grab one of Samuel's arms, and haul his corpulent weight up into the carriage.
It is, yeah,
Because
it's true.
He's like trying to run, and you guys are like, "Yeah, that's not going to work. Not actually going to happen."
Should have got a
Whereas, you
ticket.
John's really should have got a ticket. And as it turns out, it's really hard to run when you've got a freaking shotgun jammed down your thing.
I just realized that. Yeah,
They're
yeah.
not the most flexible objects on the planet. I mean, I'm just saying they don't bend in the middle, or
It's
there's
got
a-
a
there's a
sawn-off,
problem.
or is it a full
But then the
shotgun?
cartridges fall out.
Cartridges pop out. Fair point. Well made. I'll give you that. All right.
Is it a full shotgun or is it a sawn off?
It's sewn off.
Okay.
Bit shorter then.
Yeah, it's still pretty big.
Still,
It's
oh.
that's what I was asking. How
No,
it's a boot, it's a boot,
Yeah.
and it's like that's at least what? It's got to be at least a foot
It's
to
gotta
a
be this
half
big.
long to use
about
American
a foot.
measurement.
I remember the first time when I said to you, "Well, where do I have the shotgun? I'm going out into the street." He said, "Oh, you got it down your pant leg," and so I'm stuck with that in my head.
Fine. I mean, other people are carrying them inside their large jackets, which they wear. Which
Oh, it's
seems
down my pant leg.
coats. All right, so you're on the train. You've jumped on. Samuel's been pulled up onto the train by John and Atlanta.
Thank you.
Amadeus and Father Daniel, you are the only African Americans on the entire passenger train.
Oh well.
So, first of all, train travel, particularly during this period, is mostly particularly expensive. So, not a lot of African American patronage. And you are basically sitting by yourselves, like in this, thing, and surrounded by a lot of people looking at you. A lot. Like, what are you doing on our train? It's a deeply uncomfortable experience.
I'm sort of used to that, sadly.
Yep.
I'm pretty used to it as well.
Yeah. For the rest of you, it's a much more diverse cohort of people. So there are people from all walks of life and all backgrounds who've fallen on hard times in the sort of the stock carriages that are attached to the back of the train. The train travels on at least 3 or 4 times. Amadeus and Father Daniel, the sort of the conductor and the ticket guys come back around to double check that your tickets are legitimate. Like you note, like everyone gets checked once, and then they come back to you 3 times through the whole trip just to say, hold on a second, can we just look at that ticket again and make sure that it's right?
Certainly, my son. It's okay if you need to look at it again. That's quite all right, my son.
Well, that's very kind of you, Father. We've had a lot of people.
I know there's a lot of trouble. I'm sure you get. It must be very, 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 very tiresome for you.
Especially in these days when there's no money.
In these days, it's a very difficult job. I can completely understand.
So can I get a... It's a manipulation roll. Can I get a manipulation roll?
Yep.
Does he get...
see how well you handle...
Is that... All right, so see how well...
Pick one of you. Pick one of you, whoever you think.
I've got quite high manipulation. I've got 6. Amadeus, I don't know what you are.
Manipulation... I think you're better than I am. I think I've got, what is it, empathy, and actually 6 as well. You do it.
Yeah, I thought
maybe you can help. Maybe you can assist.
Can we assist each other, or is it just the one roll?
Nodding sagely.
You can assist. Yeah, you can assist. Yeah, that's fine. Mm-hmm.
It's 1 extra die, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
There
Perfect. 2 successes, no problems at all. So you are able to sort of look. It's not. They give you less attention than you might otherwise receive, and allow you to stay on the train without just instantaneously claiming that your ticket's obviously fraudulent. So you make your way into upstate New York, which is where the train is going. To the town of Crawley, not a real town, by the way.
Well, speak to the people who live around Gatwick Airport.
Yeah, they might disagree. This is a real town.
Just
not in upstate New York.
It's
going to say, is this Lake Placid? Is this Albany?
Now, the rest of you are basically untroubled. The 3 of you stick together. You look a bit scary. Anyone comes too close, Samuel taps his leg. In that kind of,
Stop tapping your leg.
My knee.
It's not just his gammy.
Here in the cargo car, we are
about.
living the life of luxury compared to those 2. With the eyes of all the white folk burning into them.
That's right.
Just don't draw attention to yourself.
There's a lot of not fun attention. So the train, after about 2.5 hours, pulls up into Crawley, which is where you're meant to disembark. Pulls to a stop because you've got some people with tickets that are getting off on Crawley, so that wins. Which means it's easy for the 3 of you, that is the 3 of you in the stock cars, to disembark. So you all
quick
bundle out.
Check to make sure there's no station yard marshal keeping an eye out for unlikely types. Why did I even mention that? You'd have let us get straight.
I was just thinking that.
There's no sign of anyone particularly paying any attention. Crawley's not exactly a hub of industry. The depression has kind of made it worse. And in addition to that, it's basically the equivalent of a small country town. Which has a particular meaning where I come from, and probably similar to Doug's understanding, but maybe in England it's different. So you unbundle. Now, you know that the doctor is operating out of the Hooverville. The Hooverville is about a mile out of town, so it's effectively you've got to walk to the Hooverville. And there doesn't seem to be like a carriage service or anything like that. Like it's a straight up, guess we're walking kind of moment.
Yeah.
Now, are any of us people from a rural community? Because it's a huge, there's a huge kind of culture shock going into a small town and from the city, especially from a city like New York and from Harlem. Going into a small town in upstate New York we would certainly stand out, and it would be
a little, but we must also remember that we have travelled into the Dreamlands,
yes,
which is a little bit more of a culture shock.
And I think some of you, I know John Arnsworth definitely, and I think maybe Atlanta possibly, both come from the South originally.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I came.
So
Atlanta is the clue's in the name.
Yeah. The hint is in the name.
I have been through a number of different churches.
okay.
Oh,
So maybe
it says you're live now, Frank.
Yeah, it took a while. I'm just seeing that my channel logo is actually covering the QR code. Oh dear.
So I'm feeling a little overwhelmed because probably I think I grew up in New York and in Harlem, and so this is as disturbing as being in the dream world.
Yeah,
Dreamland.
it's empty for a start. And there's this small town of Crawley, and then you can see this dirt road basically heading off into what looks like not quite a forest, but like a large stand of trees. And your understanding is that's where Hooverville is. It's in amongst those trees.
So
where people have pitched tents and other things.
What time of day would it be?
It's quite late. So by the time you've gotten here, it's about 4:00 in the afternoon.
And the season, if I can ask?
Yeah, so this is where I fail, because obviously Australians have a very different understanding of seasons to Northern Hemisphere folk.
Reverse it.
But let's call it autumn. Let's call it autumn for the sake of simplicity.
So it's quite beautiful outside. The trees,
the
maple trees,
of course, because we're in North America.
Yeah,
of course.
Maple trees, and it's actually quite beautiful in upstate New York.
And there's beautiful, the deciduous trees are losing all their leaves and their beautiful colours, and getting ready to block drains everywhere.
I don't think John has visited this place before to market in his green book so he probably just trying to mark where is some safe space places to visit if we know later on.
Yeah, and that would be right. This is not a place that a majority of African Americans who are traveling would come to. It has no historical relationship with, significant numbers of African Americans. It's not on the main thoroughfares between the northern cities. It's actually north of that line, as it were. So no, it's quite unlikely that you've been here.
Okay.
Right. So you've got a mile walk basically to take.
Well, I've had a mile walk to some gigs or further. So I just head out along the road, my long legs, striding, carrying my horn in its case.
I'm chafing.
Now you see, actually, just thinking about that case as I look down at that, you want to get one of these for your limp, Samuel.
Oh, you mean I could put it in a violin case? That's novel.
Very novel, yeah.
I like that idea. Thank you.
It would
you,
then be
Atlanta.
it would then be a violent case.
Oh,
Oh, nicely
Very
done,
good.
John. Nicely done, Mohammed. All right, so you head out along the road. At the end of it, you come, as I said, to this sort of tall stand of trees. In amongst it, you can, as you're approaching, you can smell, fires and food cooking and other things, because it's by the time you get there, what does that take? About an hour. So you probably less, I guess, actually. Sorry, it's
Half an hour.
1.6K, isn't it? Yeah, so it's a half an hour.
About half an hour. 2
So
miles an hour normally.
you
Walking.
you arrive, you can smell the cook fires sort of kicking off. People are lighting fires. You can hear quite a lot of voices, and you enter at the edge of the forest this community. People have stood up tents and small shacks, which they've either kitted together from, the remains of other things, or they've, actually built the, equivalents of little lean-tos and other things like that. There's quite a number of people here. There's probably anywhere between 100 to 150 people in the community as a whole. So there's quite a few. Obviously, all looking, down on their luck, as you would expect. What you understand is you're looking for the doctor, Coombs. And yeah, there's kids running around and, people wandering around. What do you want to do?
Ask if we can be directed to Dr. Coombs for a person the first person that we come to.
Oh, and just before I forget, it's a reason, as per your experience on those of you who hoboed it, there's people from all cultural backgrounds in the community, like, poverty being the great leveler in this particular scenario. So there are African Americans, there are people of Italian descent, there are people from across the spectrum of cultures.
Are there any people who look visibly sick that are moving around here?
There's a number of people who look visibly sick. Like genuinely, malnutrition is an issue. This is pre Roosevelt's reforms, so you're still dealing with the sort of non-social benefit state. So people are surviving on what they can survive on. So yeah, there's malnutrition, there's people with coughs and various illnesses and ailments moving around the community.
Yeah, it doesn't look good here, does it? What a difficult life these guys have.
Now, to make the point, though, you've left Harlem, and Harlem is also suffering these ill effects now, right?
Yeah, but I think being out here in Hooverville
is not better. No, it is.
Yeah, there's kind of resources that wealthy folk drop in cities, and there's none of that around here. There's just, I guess, wood for burning, and that's about it.
Yep, and the odd rabbit or squirrel for eating. Okay, so you grab one of the many people moving around, who directs you to a shack sort of in the middle of the community. It's bigger than all the other shacks, as it were, but it is still very clearly, a bit of canvas, some walls made of kitted together wood. When you approach it, you note a couple of things. One, it does have the universal symbol for, hospital/doctors, hanging, sort of from hanging over what appears to be the entrance to the tent. And you sort of step in, and there is there's about 6 beds in sort of quotation marks, sort of lined up. There's various people in various stages of, sort of lying on them unwell. You can see Dr. Coombs, who you were expecting to see in his, sort of tattered white coat now, because it's had some pretty heavy and unfair use and it has not been replaced. But, he's got a stethoscope, so he's got at least the minimum, and he's moving around amongst the beds. So he's African American, and there's a woman who you would guess is kind of providing nursing services, although she's definitely not dressed as one, who comes from an Italian background, quite clearly, or at least that part of the world.
Right, I go to my colleague, Dr. Coombs. What's his first name? Do I know his first name?
Do you know his first name? You probably do, and you're going to ask me to tell you what it is, which is very reasonable. So give me 1 second.
Make it up. Rupert.
Nathaniel.
Nathaniel. Let's go over. Nathaniel, we are here. He's distracted.
This is filling in Nathaniel right now.
Yes.
Oh, crashed a little bit.
Oh, now, obviously, first thing you notice is that he's probably about half the size that he was when you met him last.
Right.
Oh, am I frozen?
You're not
for a little while, but it's
you're a
fine
little
again.
choppy, but
Any second now, computer.
Nathaniel, gosh, it's taken a lot of you as well, hasn't it?
Oh, come on.
I think he's a little bit behind.
Okay, can you guys hear me now?
15 seconds.
Yes.
Yes.
You're live and you're.
Am I back? Am I back?
You are
Okay.
back.
I hope.
I'm back.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome.
And roughly in
Yep.
sync as well.
Yep.
Yep. Awesome.
I made the mistake of touching a cable. Gonna be that sort of day. So yeah, so he grabs your hands. He's about half the size that you recall him. Shakes it desperately, looks at you and says, Amadeus, I'm so pleased you could come.
It sounded urgent.
It is. I don't know what's happening here, but there's disease has been affecting the people of the community, and you were the only one I could think of to reach out to.
When did it start?
A couple of weeks ago. It started in a small way. People looking a bit lethargic. I just thought it was like, an influenza or even just a gastroenterological thing. But I'm now really worried. And he points to what the furthest bed away from the door and says, and now I have, this very sick patient, and I just can't work out what's causing it.
Right. So the others were not as sick? Is that what you're saying?
They hadn't progressed, and I'm worried that this is the progression.
Oh, I see. So this is one of the first patients.
Yes.
Right. What else can you tell me? Are they related? Have they spent time together? Did they all go to the same place to get their water or something like that?
Look, yes, we get our water from the local stream. That I just don't have any equipment to test anything. I don't.
No, I brought a few things. I don't have a full lab, but I brought a few things.
Is there a new set of people that have moved into the actual town recently over the last couple of weeks? like, obviously about months ago.
He sort of staggered by this kind of question from out of the blue, turns to face you, Father Daniel. What do you mean? I mean, there's always new people coming into the town and to the community. And he sort of points generally out that way towards the rest of Hooverville.
I don't mean the Hooverville. I mean
Crawley.
Crawley. Some people that don't belong to Hoovertown, as Father wants to say.
Yeah.
Wealthy Italians, maybe.
Yeah.
A new rich family of white folk.
Wealthy Italians. He kind of this sort of completely distracts him. Can I get? He's trying to think. He looks at you all and goes, I mean, I mean, yes. There's the said, Italians. No, I don't think so. But I mean, Theodore Sedgwick and his, kind of, but he was, he moved in like 12 months ago.
And Mr. Sedgwick, what's he like?
Oh, I don't know. I've never met him.
From his name,
but he has a lot of money.
Landed white family.
Well, he has a lot of money. He came into town. He bought up the newspaper. The reason I'm here is he insisted on a change of staff at the hospital. Yeah.
Oh, so you were made redundant. You got your pink slip from the hospital.
Well, he didn't want, an African American treating white people.
Right. And he's a benefactor of the hospital. So what he says goes? Or is he has he bought the trust that runs the hospital, or what?
He's a benefactor. And not a nice guy, he says. Yeah, so and he sort of points back to you, Amadeus, because he was trying to describe this disease, and then there was all these questions about people moved into the town, and he's a bit lost.
But I also
need to come
I Amadeus and look wide-eyed at you, trying to communicate a question to you that I will let you decide whether you can understand or otherwise.
I like the subtlety of that conversation. Meanwhile, in a classic, it's in a classic moment of sort of role playing. Two players look at each other. One of them wiggles their nose. The other, exactly. Thank you, Doug. And the other one goes, "What? We shoot him?"
I start down the side of my leg.
Right.
I
didn't look pointedly at the armed guy, I have to say.
Right, yeah, no, it was. What am I meant to do with this? All right. So, you've fired off this question. He's told you that there's this guy called Theodore Sedgwick. He doesn't know a lot about him, but he does exist. Did you...
Did I recognize the name at all?
Make a learning roll for me, please. Actually, no. Actually, sorry. Make an investigation roll.
Investigation. I have a chance at least.
Oh,
there we go.
One.
All you need is one.
Can
okay,
I?
So you.
Can
you
can
were
I
actually one of. Oh, sorry. Go.
I just wanted to ask, as I overhear the name, I'd like to know if I'm aware of this person, because I am a private investigator, and so I I've been around. May I? To see if I can
You may.
assist.
Nah, of course not, Samuel.
You may not.
It was only 8 days.
Yeah. So what were your chances? Amadeus, so you recognize the name. So Sedgwick, the Sedgwick family, if it's the same Sedgwicks, which you suspect it is, are definitely in the upper tier of New York established money.
Right.
So,
And do I know them
definitively-
as benefactor to the hospital? To our hospital?
not your hospital, not Harlem.
No.
No, because
Okay.
the other thing you know about the Sedgwicks is because you've run with philanthropists from across the water, from across the river, who are big supporters of African American,
Welfare.
sort of wealth and philanthropy. The Sedgwicks are not part of that set.
Right.
They
I
might
see.
even be Birth of a Nation sponsor type of people.
Yeah,
Nice.
I was thinking
know-
they were more the Burning Cross type.
Where would
Yes.
I put my money? What I should do is help the arts thrive. How could I help the arts thrive? I could give extra money to the guy who's making Birth of a Nation.
Right.
Yeah.
Starts to
Yeah.
make
Which
sense now.
for anyone who watches later is infamous, partially because it was watched by Woodrow Wilson in a private showing in the White House.
Yeah.
Go
Yeah.
figure. Woodrow Wilson, founder of the League of Nations, great guy, maybe not so much. And two, the Ku Klux Klan figures as a major force for good in the movie.
Yeah, somewhat dubious. Now I'm starting to get Atlanta's stare.
Yeah.
I said, all right, so why do you think Sedgwick was involved here?
As in, you're asking the doctor now.
Yeah,
back to
but with
asking
a
the
glance
doctor.
across
Nathaniel.
to Atlanta to Anston Hughes.
Okay. Well, I don't know why he's moved here. I mean, he's got a lot of money.
He's
Maybe he just
loaded,
wants to
isn't
buy
he?
the town.
Yeah.
I mean, he literally says that. He says maybe he just wants to buy the town because he's certainly buying everything in the town.
It seems very strange. Right, we might have to go and investigate that a bit. But first of all, is there anything I can do to help you here? My
Well, you could
companions
examine
said
my
I can go
patients,
investigate.
which still hasn't happened.
I will have a look.
That'd be awesome.
I will assist Amadeus with my occult knowledge that I gleaned.
Oh yeah.
With your own medicine bag.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, you've been holding on to that for the whole time. All right, so you two set up to examine the patient. So Harold Priestley, exactly as sort of the letter had described, he's like grey, like actually grey. His eye is kind of not weeping, it's almost not there. So one of his eyes is kind of collapsed in on itself. It is actually a pretty horrific experience to see him for the first time. Can I get you both to make fear checks, please?
Mm-hmm.
Fear 1.
Fear 1.
Yep. Come on, John. Get that bonus die.
Okay. Same. Should I roll?
Ah!
Okay.
Did you roll?
Yeah.
I can't tell if you rolled.
Father
Yeah,
Daniel had
I'll
one
roll.
success.
One success.
So did I.
Yep.
Hey.
Hey.
John as well.
Oh, but it,
Oh,
is it-
sorry,
is
you
it-
weren't going over to check him, were you?
No,
You
no.
only have to do it if you were going over and checking him.
no,
John
but,
can't resist. He's nosy.
Yeah, the talent did not add it directly, so I have to make sure to.
No, you have to make sure you add it. I've got brave as well, Mohammed.
Okay.
Yep. But you got the success, so did you need to
Yeah.
spend those 5 points on Brave? The question will be asked.
Cool.
Just
You probably didn't. Okay, so can I get a learning roll from Father Daniel and a medicine roll from Amadeus, please. This medicine roll is not in the sort of order of actually is not in
Curing
the
anything.
emphasis of curing, it's in the emphasis of understanding. So if you
Can I use my medicine bag for +2 bonus or not?
you can use it because you said you've bought a couple of, things in your bag so you've got little, jars and things, and you can check things. Yeah. I'm
Okay.
happy for that to happen.
And I'm
But you
guessing I
can't
have
use,
to
for instance, the first aid talent or something like that, because that adds to actually curing people.
Got 1 success again.
Yep,
And I guess
1
I have to
success.
use my advantage.
Well, you don't have to, but if you don't,
I'm
then you'll.
going to. Yeah, it's pointless.
Mhm.
No.
No, would you like to push that, Father Daniel?
I'm going to push, yeah. And succeed.
Yeah.
And succeed. Point well spent.
And I'm
Okay.
going to be angry about the situation that I find my fellow man in.
Furious, even. Furious.
Yes.
Okay.
Furious.
So let's deal with the medical examination first. So you check him.
Mhm.
A couple of things become really apparent very quickly. You touch him and his skin flakes away at your touch.
So basically, like it's paper or something.
Yeah, exactly like it's paper, or ash. Do you know what I mean? Like it's that kind of experience.
Disseminated, okay.
Yeah, when you go to move his arm, bits of it flake away when you lift it, and obviously you put it straight back down because it's quite horrific to see. The skin is flaking away and the underlying muscle mass is exposed, and then it starts to flake away.
There's no visible injury or anything in the sense of, there was a bite or something.
No. Well,
you
struggle to examine him. Yeah, but you struggle to examine him because moving him actually creates this effect, right?
That's why I'm saying I'd rather ask Nathaniel.
Yeah, so you can do that in a moment. Right. Even as you're examining him, and you see that if he's exposed to any fluid at all, it dissolves him. So it is genuinely like, something made of ash or that type of material where you pour the water on and then it kind of washes away.
Ash is perfect analogy. Like a burnt out cigarette type thing.
Yeah.
Like if you touch it, just crumbles away.
Yeah, and that's what it's like.
What can do this?
Yeah, you have never seen anything like this before, self-evidently. But it does have some similarities with what was happening with the people who were being affected by the dream battery. They were sort of, being affected and crumbling away a bit. It is definitively not a natural effect. The one thing you are absolutely confident of is this is not a disease per se. And that's coming from your sort of experience in working with supernatural things. But
is there any reaction from the individual?
No, he's past any point of communication.
Does Amadeus kind of gasp when this happens?
Definitely.
So when I hear that, I start moving over to look more closely at the person.
And if I see you, Father Daniel will shoo you away.
Now, Father Daniel, sorry, I'll just finish the second half of the investigation pit first. So, Father Daniel, you're looking at it with this, I did some supernatural research and, parasitic-y stuff going on. Seeing it in the flesh, first of all, is very confronting, obviously. But the second thing is it reconfirms your opinion, which is something is stealing this person's life. Like,
We have seen
it
this
is
before.
genuinely harvesting their life force or their life.
As we watch, it's not something that's come to suck a bit of life out of them every night and they're now flaky away.
No, it's
Is-
very similar to what
is
you
the
talked about with
perception
the
you're-
batteries.
Discussing that actually
Mhm.
the life is being sucked away almost before our eyes, although almost imperceptibly slowly. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's a
Of course,
it's a
the,
constant
mm.
feeding, if you will. Like I know.
Of course, they already discussed with John what happened earlier about the dream batteries, so maybe he's asking if it's.
I'm guessing we've had case files, because I'm guessing
Yeah,
the
you
command
kind of
boss would have had case files
Yeah.
on that.
So it's
specific
not-
thing.
It's not exactly the same. It's actually
Okay.
not exactly the same, right? The effect
But
is
I
slightly
mean-
different.
Yeah, I'm meaning the same device, maybe some sort of similar device that
It's
this
It
device
could well
was
have been
hidden. Curse.
It could be like a what's it? Like a refinement of what was going on.
Mhm.
Yeah, but it looks different as well. Further along, anyway.
Yeah. Now, while you two are sort of working this through, just one last comment. So, Father Daniel, your occult research has indicated to you there are actually curses that could do this as well.
Oh,
So you can curse someone in this way.
To wither
You're
away.
not sure that's what it is, and as a matter of fact, you may not recall, but during the events of the dream batteries, one of you actually lost your lives to effectively a withering curse
Mhm.
that was used on you. So yeah, that's potentially the link that you're seeing. Now, then, so you kind of established that. Samuel, you're coming over to check it out. At that point, as you're coming over to check it out, Amadeus, you notice that now, as he's breathing out and in, which he's been doing very, sort of slowly, you can now see dust on the air
Ooh,
coming out of
dear.
his mouth.
It's progressed to his lungs.
Yeah, your official position is we're probably on the sort of last minutes of this person's life.
Last gasps, yeah. Well, I just called the nurse over. So,
Omni patri filia sancti. I will start to give him last rites.
Okay, so you give him last rites.
Yeah.
By the way, a very important side comment, Father Daniel. Since the events of the mask, you have not had the same connection with the Orisha that you previously had.
Yeah, I guessed. Yeah, I guessed that the whole mask incident was quite a bit of a one-off type thing, because it was very, tied to that sort of thing. Yeah, I didn't expect that I would.
Yep, cool. All right, so the nurse comes over, and even as she's coming over, you can see that cracks are now forming across his body, and at that point, he starts to collapse in on himself.
Goodness me.
So
step back so I don't take a lungful of
yeah.
Whatever it is
Dust.
that's going on
Human
here.
dust.
Yeah.
So do I see
Human
this?
dust. Yeah, you do.
So
Matter of fact, you can all make a fear check.
We're all seeing this now, are we?
Is that including?
Well, there's quite a
people
bit
who
of
make fear
commotion,
checks?
so I'm assuming you're all sort of pulled in
Yeah.
towards the commotion at this point.
Oh,
Nope.
Samuel is not cool with people who collapse in front of him. Neither is John Arnsworth. That bravery thing you were doing, it was all about fighting monsters, wasn't it, John? It wasn't
Yeah.
about collapsing
Yeah.
human bodies.
I'm
That's
good.
just not
Yeah.
cool.
Okay,
Yeah,
everyone who failed, take a point of a mental condition, please.
Yeah,
do we have people who've made it before? Do we have to do it again?
Yeah, you do, because this is
Okay,
like
sorry, I didn't
the whole.
realise.
That's
Yeah.
no, that's cool. It's a fair question.
Yeah,
It's a whole thing, right? Like his whole body is now collapsing in on itself. It's not just, a bit of flaky skin. It's like you're watching a person literally collapse in on themselves and expire.
Yeah, not good.
yeah.
Well,
Ashes to
Yeah.
ashes, dust to
Because
dust.
I've got-
That's what I'm saying.
Oh no!
Yeah.
Huzzah.
Wow, yeah. Father Daniel nails it.
Yeah, I still just stand there trying to comprehend what's going on.
Somebody falling to dust, it happens every second Thursday.
So I'm afraid, but I start getting really angry for no reason, and I think to myself, I've seen this in one of those books that I was scanning through while Father Daniel and Amadeus, the doctor, were reading up. That I was just scanning some of the stuff that they were looking at, and so I would like to use my extra investigation of the occult and the dream world to kind of.
Can I hold you on that for 1 second? Because there's actually something you see that will be the perfect entry to that desire. Right. So the body collapses in front of you. Basically, what is left are bones, which seem to have been broadly. They're a bit crumbly, but they've obviously got much more resistance than skin and muscle. However, what you also see, and all of his organs have sort of been affected by this, right? So it's a kind of mess of ashiness and bits of bone and a basically rib cage and that sort of thing. However, what you all see are these little sacs, these fleshy sacs that have attached themselves all along the bone structure. There's about 10 or 12 of them. And yeah, there's these little fleshy sacs sort of
How big
attached.
are they? Are they like?
They're sort of, coin-sized, big coin-sized, let's say 2 to 3 centimeters across for one of discussion.
What on earth is that?
Now you can make your +4 die roll, please.
Samuel,
that's you. Yep. Sorry, Samuel. Oh, 2 successes. Turns out that reading those books is a good thing to do. Okay. You are suddenly reminded of the fact that there are these sort of parasites from outside of our world that feed on human life force to stay here, to continue to be here. And you're looking at these sacs and you're struck by the idea that there are these, that they lay eggs or they lay their kind behind.
Do I know or have I read something about or realized that how they come to lay those eggs?
No, it's a little bit more hidden than that.
I will
but
get my
what
holy water. Ooh.
Yeah, what you can. No, get your holy water. Go hard. Go hard on the holy water.
Because that will drive spirits out.
It does. It does drive spirits out. The other thing, because you got 2 successes, so 1 extra dimensional thingies. 2 though is, where's the egg layer?
Yeah, exactly.
Because it's not here. From? It's not inside the body, and you would expect it to be there.
I turn to the doctor. I say, "Did this man, or I'm assuming that it's a man? Did this man work?"
Harold Priestley. Good guess.
Did he work for this man?
Sedgwick.
Yeah, Sedgwick. Yeah, that's his name.
he was actually, the doctor is like gibbering a bit because like he's dealing with this thing and he's had way less exposure to weird shit than the rest of you, right? So for him, this is pretty confronting stuff. So he's like what? What? So you've just spun around. He's like dealing with the fact that someone's literally just collapsed in on themselves, and he's looking at these sacks of eggs or whatever they are, going, "What the hell are those? I don't recognize those organs." And you suddenly grab him or do something to draw his attention to you and go, "Did this man work for Sedgwick?" And he's like, "What?
Yeah, don't want to interrupt. I would try to take a sample.
Oh, okay. So you're going to grab one of this. Oh, sorry, not grab. I'm assuming you're not using your hands. That's probably a reasonable
No.
assumption. No.
I'm slightly more medical about it.
I'll give you that. This isn't D&D. You know, you haven't opened the door.
Well, that would have
Did you
been me
open the
shooting
door?
it off.
Yeah, exactly. Get it off me. All right. So you get a pair of tongs or forceps or something. And what, you're grabbing it, or are you actually trying to slice a little bit of the flesh off?
It's attached to the bone.
Yeah.
And being splattered with holy water, I think.
Holy water furiously being cast over the whole thing.
So what I would try
By the way,
to
the
do
holy
is-
water has a really unpleasant effect because, of course, it is like ash.
Yeah.
So when you throw the
It's
holy water
slimy.
on the bits,
Muddy.
it gets muddy,
Bit
slimy. It doesn't help your sanity. Let's put it that way. There's no way that's helping.
Well, at least, yeah, holy water helps in another
Yep.
way. I probably would take like pincers, forceps, whatever, and a scalpel and try to actually cut it away from the bone.
Okay, so you're grabbing it. When you grab it, it squeezes, right? Like the fleshy sack squeezes, because that's what's going to happen.
I'll try to
And-
grab it close to where I would want to cut it off. Like if you remove a tick, essentially.
It's like a shark egg, okay? Like it's attached, which is a very Australian thing to know. It's like a shark egg.
Yeah, I was about to
so
say, we don't know what shark eggs look like.
I do.
Yeah,
I've seen
so-
fried ones.
It's
So like,
it's attached to the rib, but it's kind of directly attached. Like it's not like it's a sort of got an extension, if that makes sense. It's like the flesh of the egg sac is directly attached. And so
Well,
when you
okay,
grab
can I
it, no
remove
matter how
part of the
you
rib?
try,
Can I remove part of the rib
Well,
with
you-
it? Because
I mean, you
said
can
it's
grab it
brittle.
and cut it.
Yeah,
I'm not
I'll
sure
try
that you wouldn't grab it and cut it. I think you would because,
okay.
you know, but when you grab it, it bulges, right? Like because you're putting force on it and it sort of squeezes a bit. And you can see inside the sack now, because you've sort of pressured it a bit, there are these little dark, shadowy forms moving inside the egg.
Multiple forms in each egg.
I put
Yeah.
a glass around it if I can.
Okay.
Ugh.
And then try to get it off. So it would
By the way,
capture
this
rather
does
than go
not
spray.
help. This does
Burning
not
with
help
fire.
the
Burning with
doctor,
fire.
as in the other doctors, as in Nathaniel. It does not help Nathaniel's mental health when you do
Sanity.
this, right? Like you squeeze it, he's looking, and it's now worse
What
than it
Samuel's
was.
doing
a
his very
second
best
ago.
to distract him with
He's doing a
irrelevant
terrible
question.
job. He's doing a terrible job. No, I don't know that. Okay. All right. So you then try and slice the sack away from the wall while pinching it, while putting it in the jar. Can I get a... I'm going to get you to make an agility roll because I think it's an
Agility. Oh,
agility
dear.
test.
I'm not very
But-
agile.
No, but good news. Good news is, you know, what follows bad news is sometimes good news. I will give you a bonus 2 dice because you're actually a trained doctor and surgeon.
Still not a lot of dice. That's all like,
Work with me here, buddy. Work with me.
yeah.
Oh, and look at the negativity that you projected onto that action, and then look at the
Uh-huh.
result. I'm just saying.
Yeah. Okay.
All right,
Yes,
so-
let's go.
You successfully, because you know of those 2 bonus dice. Wow, 2 dice.
Yeah.
Wow, you are terrible at agility.
I told you. I'm an old man
did.
with a limb.
It's
You-
because it's a very precise
Mm.
job, not an agile job.
That's right. You
It's
slice
super
it
smart.
carefully away, which is lucky, and you separate it beautifully without breaching the wall of the sack, which I assume is your intention. And
Yes,
then
absolutely.
you dump it into the sort of jar,
The jar,
that you've
mhm.
got it, and you slam the lid on. And yeah, inside it, now you've got this jar. There's this jar, and there's this sack in there, which you can sort of hold up to the fading light. Well, no, probably to a lantern or something in the room. And yeah, when you put it up against the light, you can obviously see the light coming through and the shadowy forms of 2 or 3 wormy looking things. You can't make them out because the wall is not transparent, it's translucent. And you can see shadowy forms moving inside there. And by the way, I'll just remind you, there's about 9 or 10 more of these sacks.
Yeah, I'm just clawing my way back slowly to logic and say, oh, clearly this is parasitic. We must get rid of these things.
Yeah, you should burn it.
Burn the eye.
Need to burn this.
By the way, the holy water appears to be having no effect, Father Daniel, except making a sludgy slurry.
Yeah, I realised
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Samuel, can you make a manipulation roll? Yep. Because you're trying to get the doctor to tell you stuff. Oh my God, you people are on fire. All right, 2 dice. It's a success.
Oh.
But
Nice.
8 dice, none. Whatever.
What I love is that all the people are rolling the skills they're not good at. I respect that. Okay, Samuel, you're able to grab his attention long enough to get him to answer your question. His answer is no. So, Harold was the editor of the local newspaper, but Sedgwick bought it and fired him.
Did he argue with him? Do you know if there was any?
Well, Harold wrote some unflattering articles about Sedgwick taking over all the institutions of the town.
I look to my colleagues and I say to them all, it just adds up that this Sedgwick, don't you all think that it's?
Yes.
We're way ahead of you, Samuel.
Yes.
Oh,
That was the look he was giving me, I think.
I was all excited about this. Sorry,
No,
sorry, doctors.
It's good. You have a good idea.
You've done well.
I'll tell you something else that won't surprise any of us. Sedgwick will be a white man.
No, you know that. Amadeus has definitively defined. He will be.
I'm just
He
being
won't be a great
facetious.
guy.
He's being
Turn around to
facetious for
Atlantic,
Samuel's
well ahead
sake.
of you. We must do something about these quickly. Come on. Can we get the whole? He wasn't handily lying on a little sheet. This guy was.
Yeah, or grab the sheet as a bag maybe and throw it in some
try to burn
dumpster
it
fire
more.
outside.
It's not like a.
So you're
So
grabbing
we have
them
you have
It's not a
saved
barrel
and preserved
fire out.
one egg in glass, and we are now
Yes.
destroying all the others, right?
That's the
Yes.
hope.
That's
And
the-
how are you
okay.
destroying? Exactly how are you destroying them?
Well,
Is there a
Yeah.
John
barrel- is there a
Armsworth
barrel-
carried them to a fire, but I have no
Yeah,
idea what he's going to do
probably,
next.
After,
like
of
one of
course,
those-
How
I'm
are you
taking,
carrying them?
I'm taking the instruction from Dr. Amadeus, of course, but John is just trying to as he said, he's lying on a sheet. Maybe he just pulled the sheet together to make it as a bag because it's all a crumble now, a dusty crumble. So put
a
it,
dusty damp crumble.
yeah.
With a bit
Yeah,
of crunch.
a muddy crumble,
Mm,
really.
Yeah.
It's not
Talking
that
of
much
which,
holy
I'm
water.
gonna-
You didn't bring a vat of holy water.
No,
It
no,
was-
I didn't. It was a little bit of holy water.
he's not sludge now.
I bow to your superior knowledge.
Genuinely love it every time Phil's
I
got
like
my
make a comment about
Holy
come on
water
people,
quantities.
priests don't really do that.
Hmm.
The priests don't really do that moment of the and he's gone. We've lost him. Anyway,
It's fetching his holy
he's
water
gone to
container.
get a holy water dispenser.
That much.
That's how big it is.
I know.
I thought it was a hit.
Hold on, let's check in with our resident actual priest and find out what the
There we
actual
go.
answer is.
Yeah.
All
I
right.
can hear something in there.
Of course.
All right, so you. Sorry, go.
Priestry is all very good, but I'm getting my sacks out because if anything helps the banishment of dodgy spirits, in my experience,
Yeah.
it's playing some decent syncopated rhythms.
So you're getting your sacks out.
It has
to
been
burn the sacks.
very successful in past.
I could just see the doctor losing his mind.
He's not doing well. Like, at this point, he's not doing well. All right. So
The experts.
he gets the idea that Amadeus has grabbed one of the sacks and put it in a jar. Completely standard behavior, exactly what he would expect. Then John basically starts to gather up all the edges of the sheet and just pulls them together and just walks boldly out of the tent with the dead body in the sheets. Just walks straight. He goes, Amadeus, what do I do with this?
I did say these are parasites. We must get rid of them. We must burn them. So nothing is left. And
okay, all right, good answer. Good answer.
Water.
Gives him some reassurance that people know. And then the other guy who's done nothing so far pulls out a saxophone and starts tuning it up.
This feels like the next Ghostbusters movie.
And of course, I missed the bit where the priest who'd already said, well, maybe it makes some sense. He's like throwing holy water on. Maybe that's part of the blessings of the dead. I mean, Nathaniel's not actually a Catholic, so he doesn't know, and he's okay with anyone shriving the dead, as it were. So he probably lets that one pass. But yeah, the saxophone just does his head in. It's like,
I mean, it's like a New Orleans funeral. Like,
Yeah.
like he's playing him out with really good jazz.
In upstate New York, just to be
In
clear,
upstate
one
New
last
York,
time,
yeah.
in upstate New York.
I'm getting the sort of.
All right, so you take it out and you're gonna just find one of these bigger fires and literally just put the sheet straight on it.
Yeah, it's not a body. It's still a body, or it's completely now just.
How
bone.
much structure
there's
has it got left?
So the bones themselves are now, because you pulled them, because you've pulled them together, the bones have sort of crumbled in on themselves, right? So they're not, you've got bones and they're definitively bones, but they're not a whole skeleton structured together anymore because all the ligaments have broken down and all of that. So the bones are in effect loosely connected, if at all. And so when you pull it all up, it all sort of crunches into the bag. So you've basically got just a pile of stuff, right? There's some long stuff and there's some short stuff, but there's basically a bunch of harder stuff and softer stuff, and you've kind of grabbed it into a bag. You can imagine the bag kind of folds into, let's say about 1 meter across by the time you've sort of pulled it up and together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm trying to find any fire that doesn't have any people around it. I don't know if maybe the ashes or the smoke.
Yeah, that's
will
not happening.
do something.
There's definitively no fires with people who are not around them.
Is there one of those trash can, like the big oil barrel fires?
No, because you're a mile out of town. People haven't rolled it's open fires. It's in fire pits.
And now it's getting dark, and so in
People
upstate New York,
cold.
I know for a fact it gets quite cool at night.
Yeah. And we're not talking Australian cold here, are we? We're talking Northern Hemisphere cold. No, right.
Yeah. I'm holding the bag, and what should I do with this?
I need to burn it.
Burn it? Should I throw it in just in?
Up to you.
People
How
enjoying
sensible
it.
are you?
Yeah, I'm not sensible at all.
Do it.
I'm 20. I don't think. I just act.
All right, so you just basically stride up to the biggest fire you can find and throw this sheet with this stuff in it.
Yeah,
It
and I will
hits
just
the fire. There's a bunch of people around you looking at you because they don't know you. You don't come from here, right? No one's met you yet, except you kind of walked in and went straight to the hospital. You walk up to the fire and you hurl this sheet full of human remains into a fire in front of a whole group of people. The sheet sort of, you didn't tie it up or anything. You just kind of bundled it up in your hands and now you hurl it onto the fire. So bones kind of rattle out of it, right? Like, do you know what I mean? Like it lands on the thing and some bones.
I can just see that.
Yeah, in the fire, and the fire lights up from inside it. So now it's got these burning eyes.
Everybody takes a fair check.
Yeah.
And they all look at you and someone's going to ask you, what are you doing when there's this hissing sound coming from the fire now? Like there's this really loud hissing, squealing sound. And you can hear this high-pitched squeal that is coming from the fire. Can I get you, John? And you can assume all the people around you, but you're pretty much by yourself at the moment, to make another fear check, please.
Yeah, and I'm already having. I'm
You're already
rolling
angry.
Yeah, I'm already angry. So I'm rolling 2 dice only. And nothing.
And 2 successes. I laugh in the face of screaming horror.
Get in there.
He says, eyes. This is
Good
what you've
riddance.
been training for, though. This makes sense. Like we agree, your bravery is all about I'm willing to face down evil monsters. Collapsing human bodies, not so cool. Monsters, tick.
No.
I've done that test. Because, of course, and it's penetrating your ears. It's like it's cutting right into your soul. You would have actually taken a physical condition from this effect. But you take none because you are bold and tough and brave. And unfortunately, that's where we'll end it because I've got to go to work. So
that's a good ending.
That is an excellent ending.
That's a great place to end it.
Standard cholera, standard procedure. Don't worry. I'm saying to all people.
It's all fine.
Quite a bit of body horror.
To be young and bold.
Yeah.
All right. It'll probably be a fortnight, but I won't promise that because it's a bit dependent on where I'm at. But that's the goal. Once again, thank you everyone. Really good session. Lots of fun.
Yes. Awesome.
Look forward to exploring Nameless Horrors.
Nameless Horrors, Scott Dorwart.
Cool.
Yeah,
I can definitely make a fortnight. I can't make 3 weeks.
We'll
good
sort
to know.
it out, I'm sure.
All right, guys. On that note, I shall end the stream.
Have a good day at work.